Welcome, bourbon lovers. This is MJ with Whiskey University, and today we have a panel of wonderful people here to sample all 10 or 11 of the little book samples that they have released through Jim Beam at this point. I'm going to introduce everyone on the panel today. That starting to my left,
it's Virginia Triplett with Whiskey University.
I'm JR with Whiskey and Rock Podcast.
And I'm Tim with no podcast.
So we are doing today in two different videos. So there will be a subsequent video to this one, and we are going to start with little books 1 through 6, and then on the second video we will do the remainder, and then the two special releases. So we are just going to jump right back into this thing with the first little book. Virginia, if you want to pour, I'm going to talk about this one. Little Book 1 was ever released. That was its first release that they did, was released in 2017. This is a 4-year uncut and filtered bourbon whiskey, a 13-year uncut corn whiskey, and a nearly 6-year uncut and unfiltered 100% malt whiskey with a 6-year rye in there as well. So that's what this one is for number 1 today. We're going to pour here, and we're going to each give you what we get on the nose and palate of each one of these. Starting with the ladies first, since we are in the South.
All right.
So, Virginia, you want to take us away? Then we'll start chatting.
Here we go.
Ooh,
It's like a really gorgeous color on this. A lot darker than I was expecting. It smells really good. And that classic, like, nut flavor and, like, smell from Jim Beam.
Yeah, it is classic kind of Jim Beam.
Yeah,
And
it's
corn.
like mixed nuts.
Corn? Well, yeah, that makes sense because of the mashed wood. Definitely.
Yeah, I agree with Virginia. I'm getting the classic Jim Beam nutty nose.
Ooh. Palate up front. Very nice. Quick early hit. Slight, nice hug. Not too much of one, but
Oh, man.
this one lives in the back of the throat for me.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, it's just hanging
Mine's up
around.
here at the front, like in my mouth.
Yeah, I get
Yeah.
mine on the front. This is we get a lot of honey.
Mm-hmm.
It's very sweet.
I get a lot of sweetness from this, too.
Yeah.
It's
This
got a
is really
very
good.
I was thinking
oily
honeysuckle.
mouthfeel.
Now it's like resolved
Got that
into like
honeysuckle
a
smell that
vanilla.
you get in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Get a good bit of
I'm getting
vanilla
some
on the
heat.
finish.
Thoughts overall?
I love
fan of
this.
this one.
This is really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this one's solid.
Very good.
So, Little Book 1. Good job, Jim Beam. Have to pour a little less next time on that one.
Wait, what is this one called
There's
again?
only 10 more of these to go.
The Easy.
So, yeah, the name of this one was The Easy. Again, this was batch 1, released in 2017. Number 2, which, by the way, samples 1 through 3 were provided by Mr. Mason up in New York. How we doing?
Thanks, Mr. Mason.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Batch number 2 is called Simple Task. This one was released in 2018. It is an 8-year Kentucky straight rye, a 40-year Canadian whiskey, and a 13-year Canadian rye whiskey. So they went north of the border on this one.
It's got
So,
a very
No
different
Simple
nose.
Task
Yeah,
is the
it
name
does.
of this one. No,
Yeah,
spelled, of
yeah.
course, N-O-E, as you would expect. And then again, the proof is not on the tag, which I find to be surprising, but it isn't. And I don't have that in my notes, which you'd think I would have put that. But I do a lot of things you wouldn't think.
It's very fruity on the nose.
I do get some corn this time on it.
So yeah, I get a lot of fruit too.
Yeah,
This
you
is
too.
a fruit bomb to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a strawberry or something
Yeah.
along those lines.
It's almost like I feel like I'm getting some bitter fruit notes, almost like a rhubarb, maybe a strawberry rhubarb pie kind of
Ooh.
feeling with this.
Yeah, I get a little bit of strawberry.
Yeah.
I don't get the rhubarb though. Oh, this to me is this is like trying to think of what Canadian whiskey I think I would associate this with. Because it's a lot of Canadian.
It has a very interesting sweet and
Mm-hmm.
not bitter, but tannic almost feel. So I've got a lot of sweetness, but I also have a lot of drying effect from this.
Yeah, on the back
There's
of
some
the back of the
drying,
palate,
yeah,
for sure.
it gets drying. But there's that Canadian whiskey kind of has a certain sweetness quality. There's a quality to it that's a little different than you get with the normal like Kentucky, Tennessee bourbon, MGP type bourbons, and I like it. I can't put my finger on what exactly that flavor is, but it's a different type of sweetness that I really enjoy from Canadian whiskeys.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I feel like I'm picking on some natural rye notes out of this too, like things that you would typically get. I mean, it's got a little earthiness to it, not a lot, just a hint, and there's definitely some spice. I'm trying to pick out the spice because I don't want to be too general with that term, but definitely get some spicy notes on this second one.
Yeah.
So
That spices around the back of your throat.
man, they did a good job with this one too, though. This is pretty solid.
So what are you guys leaning towards? One or two so
one.
far?
Still one
I
is
think
to
one,
me,
too.
yeah.
I
Out
agree.
of both these,
One is still great, but this is. I mean, this
one
is
was
awesome.
charming.
Yeah.
I love the nose on this one. I think I like the nose.
I'm a big
better.
fan of Canadian whiskey in general, so I really enjoy that.
I think this might be good as a Kentucky tea, as they like to call it at Beam.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of ice, water
See
it down
that?
a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it could open up pretty nicely.
I thought it would get more oak too with the 40 years, but I didn't
Yeah.
get as much as I thought it would.
Okay. So number 3, as we start to move into these a little further, is called The Road Home. It is a 2019 release. This one is a 9-year Basil Hayden, an 11-year Booker's, a 12-year Baker's, and a 9-year, Knob Creek.
A little bit of everything.
It is. It's like
Good
basically
hodgepodge,
Jim
yeah.
Beam decided to throw everything into a wash
Yeah.
and make this one on the third little book. So The Road Home.
It's
So-
122, 122.
122 proof. So it's got a little love to it.
Yep.
I like this
Yeah.
nose.
So
Not surprising, I'm getting a lot of the Beam notes on the nose.
Yeah. We've got a little bit of support staff
This was-
giving us the hands for our proof since we don't have it written down. So
Thanks,
as long as we
Bobby.
can, as long as we can pay attention and see what they're giving us, we'll give you guys the proof. So. All right. So this has the least aromatics
I
and
agree
nose
with you.
to me so far.
I'm getting like it's like being in the rick house on the noses. I
Oh,
feel like
yeah.
that will smell like a little dusty, sort of
Yeah.
like the rick house smell.
Yeah.
A little
Little
dusty.
dusty.
No, it's nice.
Yeah, like
I mean,
a-
I don't.
like a
It's
confection-
not. It's not as profound though as the first two that we've
I get
smelled.
like a confection sugar on the nose.
Yeah, it's
Oh, yeah, I
sweet.
can see that.
There's definitely just
Yeah.
a sweetness
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
All right, let's try The Road Home. See where it takes us.
Back home.
Oh man.
Well, I'm already there, so for me,
I hope
know.
it doesn't take me home yet. We got some more things
yeah,
to
you,
try
and you
here.
have to drive there, so
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get a little licorice on this.
Yeah.
It has a ton of oak.
Yeah,
As compared to the ones we've had already.
it's much stronger. Yeah, but it's
I thought the last one would be an oak bomb, but it was not.
this
Yeah.
is to me like a little licoricey wooden, oaky
Yeah.
type drink,
This is
and it's
finish.
but it's
That
got a
finish
big
is-
mouthfeel.
this is
Yeah.
nice.
Really good finish.
This is one I could definitely sit with for a little while and explore.
Yeah, there's a
For
lot
sure.
going on in this. This is probably, out of the 3 we've had so far, this is probably the most complex in terms
Mhm.
of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It definitely, we could play on this whole the road home kind of thing. You always see different scenery going through, and I feel like this is kind of the same thing. You know, it's like you're getting everything on that drive home or on that flight home or whatever. You know, it's like you just get a little bit of everything here on the palate, and it hits every part of the palate, every part of your senses with this one. I get bitter,
Good amount of
sweet,
spice on this too. Yes.
everything. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it lingers into some more of the classic Jim Beam sort of notes that you're used to getting on a classic Jim Beam with this one as well. So
Definitely
But
a
I
lot
love
of
that.
baking
I
spice.
love
Yeah.
that Virginia.
I'm still getting the
Yeah.
dusty Rickhouse on this.
Yeah, I do too.
This
Yeah, on the
is
back
like
end, yeah, it's kind of drying and you kind
Yes,
of get that
yeah.
dusty. Yeah, for sure.
I kind of like it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I like this one. So far, I like 1, 3, and then 2.
That'd be my order. Too.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
I would probably
interesting.
have to agree with that.
Yeah.
Although now it's making me feel like I'm agreeing with you on the palate.
Oh,
no,
boy.
gosh, we got to find something's got to change that. Something's got to change that. We can't have that. But so while we get out 4, 4 is called the Lessons Honored. While we're allowing them to pour 4, I'm going to talk about Whiskey University for just a moment. So for those of you that didn't notice in the beginning, 2 of us are Whiskey University instructors. We teach over 120 whiskey classes in your live markets and online. We can be found at whiskeyuniversity.com. Check us out. If you have anything, leave us in the comments, and we'll definitely try and reply and see if we can't get you involved with the university and taking some classes and getting involved with some of the things that we do. Talking about lessons honored really quick, as I'm gonna pour one here into my into my
That
class.
was a good lead in to lessons.
Yeah. So see, we can teach. That's right. There we go.
There we go. That's right.
Whiskey U has taught me a lot of lessons and some hard ones at times.
But some good ones too.
Yeah, that's some good ones. So this one is again lessons honored. It is a 4-year brown rice Kentucky bourbon,
Oh,
a
That's why it smells
7-year
different.
straight bourbon, and a 9-year straight rye. So I really, and it's 128, 122, 122 as I'm being told, 122.
perfect.
As far as the proof goes on that one. So it's got a little up to it as well. So let's see what lessons we're going to honor here.
Yeah,
So
let's see.
because the lesson I'm honoring is I'm enjoying this whole drinking the little book thing.
Yeah, this is
a good
really
one.
cool.
Yeah.
Mine is
I'm
drink,
not-
drink more whiskey.
I also
Yeah.
think I need to have Virginia do my pours as I'm sitting there looking at her glass.
I know I should. I know.
11
so
of these things. I don't know how we'll see what I'm feeling on
right,
number 11 there.
We tend to do pours by classification for me, and we go by little V pours, and it's just a tiny little dash. Big V pours, it's a better pour. And then probably just Virginia pours, which is going to probably look more like that.
Oh, this is yeah.
We're doing a big V pour here, so we can get a few tastes in.
Which by the end will probably be even bigger.
Yeah, it probably will. It probably will. It'll be the whole name in all caps pour. Yeah.
This is the first one I don't think I like on the nose.
I don't get a lot on the nose.
There's a
here.
note on the nose I can't.
I don't know what
It's the rice, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
I don't.
so.
I'm like
Yeah.
I don't get a
You're
whole lot
probably
on the
Yeah.
nose.
Do you guys like
actually
sake?
just-
Do you drink
Yeah,
sake?
I like sake.
I
I
don't.
do too.
I do
yeah.
not.
You don't?
No,
Okay.
it's too sockish.
Too sake-ish.
This is. I don't actually like this on the nose, if I'm being honest. I mean, it's not like harsh.
Oh, I do
But
like
it-
the palate though.
I don't know. It's almost like a bad candle.
Oh, I could see. Yeah, that I have smelled bad candles. It's like their base wax or something is like bland and strange.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I love the palate
I've
here.
worked with a lot of women, so I've smelled a lot of different kinds of candles.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
So Jim Beam does what is that signature series where they have the different ones, and they
Yeah.
have a brown rice
They
in that
do.
signature. Yeah.
No, that's the quarter
thought-
fin
yeah.
cast, but I've got some.
Yeah. That's actually one of my favorites of that signature collection. I tend to like rice in whiskeys like this.
This is
I don't.
the brown rice is flying through in this one to me with an oiliness. It's
Yeah,
got an oily. It's kind of staying with me on this, so
Not surprised.
I got to be honest with you. I think this
Not
is
a
my
fan of
least
this one.
least favorite.
Least favorite?
By far, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the most unique of the four we've
It
had
is
so
unique.
far.
It is
and
unique.
It is.
probably for being their experimental line, this is probably the most to date, the most
Really?
experimental
Yeah,
that they did.
that's true.
Of
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
first four.
That's true. That brown rice thing in there definitely.
I can see it being
Check
very
this out.
divisive whether you like sake and rice or not.
Yeah.
Whether you
Yeah.
like it.
I like for what it is. I like it.
Same.
You know, it's not. You know, I still think one is the best so far.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is really good for being as experimental as it is. You know,
Yeah.
including that rice.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually think I like this even more than 2 still. I think 2 is still my least favorite.
I agree.
There we go.
Yeah.
I was expecting
that's-
something
I
straight.
know.
Now we're different.
I know.
Now we're way different because this one would be
Yeah.
like this.
You'd
is
be
the-
like, nope.
Yeah, this is
way on
this is
down.
number 4.
I'm,
This
with,
is-
I'm with MJ by far, yes.
Yeah.
But that's why I've got you
That
here.
doesn't surprise me at
Most
all.
interesting palate of any person I've ever met in my entire life.
You know what's that movie where the thing about giving it to Mikey for food? That's me
Yes.
for all alcohol.
Oh my gosh, I'm showing some age. I remember when that came out.
I don't even know what movie it is.
Oh my God.
It's not a movie.
It's
It's
a life
it's a
series.
cartoon.
Oh, it's a
yeah.
cartoon?
Or not, it's a,
No,
no,
it's
it's
a
a
life-
cartoon. I'm sorry, it's a commercial.
Yeah, life cereal. Yeah.
Yeah.
He likes it. Hey, Mikey.
Mikey, you'll eat it.
Yeah.
Mikey, you'll
No,
eat
Mikey
it.
won't eat
Yeah.
it because he won't eat anything.
Yeah.
Man,
yeah.
And he likes it. Hey,
I am
Mikey.
showing some age with that
Yeah.
one.
So if any of y'all watching have whiskeys you want to get rid of, just send them on
Send 'em
over.
to her.
I'll take them,
Whatever it is, she'll like it.
or I'll find a use for it.
No kidding. You are still the only person I think I've ever like. Hey, what are you gonna drink that Tabasco Dickel?
Oh
I
my,
want all the bottles.
oh my
I'm gonna
goodness.
drink that.
It's so good.
I think I definitely confirmed I'm the old one.
What was the other one? What was
From
the
that
other one?
commercial.
I don't remember.
We had a get together, and we had some of the stuff from Spirits of the
Spirits
New
of
Lick.
French Lick.
The French Lick. That's it.
Yeah.
What was the
yeah.
one that you liked? And it was just
Is it the
just
Whiskey Witch?
brutal. Maybe.
I don't
I didn't
know.
like it.
It's
That's the one with the
one. It's the
Kasha-
Kasha.
yeah.
It's the
Yeah,
Kasha
yeah.
one.
That's
I
a very
love
interesting,
that.
Very interesting.
very interesting
Yes.
form.
So
I love that.
I got that. I got that from my store here locally, and
Yep.
which
All right, this is number 5.
I'm gonna give
Have
them a
y'all
little
already
plug
poured?
here.
Yes.
Parkway,
Okay.
Smyrna. Love you guys. This is little book number 5. This is chapter 5, the innovation. So the innovation has really small print, so you're gonna have to hold off on this one. So the innovation
boy.
is a 4-year straight malt finished with cherry wood staves. A 4-year straight malt finished in apple wood,
No, you're-
smoked barrels.
You're reading.
That's 6.
Yeah.
Goodness, I started saying that sounds like one. Of,
Disregard.
I'm not getting any cherry at all.
let's back
I was going to
this
say,
up.
that wasn't the tag that I just read.
Let's go back home. Let's go back home and start
Yes.
over. Let's start
MJ
this drive
screwed
over.
something
You okay
up.
over there, NJ?
There's a shocker. Oh no, I just folded the paper wrong.
We have what,
V-course,
7 more?
little
We have 7
V-course.
more to go.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
just folded the paper wrong, and I'm also blind as hell up front. So, all right, so here we go. So this one is little book number 5, The Innovation. It was released in 2021. What did I say?
Innovation.
Innovation. Oh crap! I just
Here we go.
Invitation.
Here
And for those of you at home, this is not uncommon.
I hope you're getting a kick out of this.
So, this is a 2-year straight bourbon, a 3-year straight malted rye, a 5-year straight bourbon, and a 15-year straight bourbon. So a huge gap in age on these.
Yeah.
So they really,
Very
Some
young,
stuff,
and
yes.
then try to balance
And
that
then
out
very
with
old.
some of the
Yeah.
older.
it's
And of
it's-
course, they
Yeah.
don't give percentages for any of these, so as far as what of these mash bills
No,
make
and
up
that's
the,
right.
the product, final product.
what was the proof we thought? 117, 16, 116, 116 on the proof on number 5. I don't.
Interesting nose.
I don't get a lot from the nose, but I've already jumped into the palate. And
See it to me. I get a little.
I get that sweetness on the nose.
Yeah.
again. There seems to be a
is
theme
a
with a
real
lot of their
sweet-
nose up
Yeah.
to this, again up to this point.
This is
There's just
almost like
a
breakfast
sugary
cereal.
sweet,
Sweet.
you know when you go to actually Buc-ee's now, because they have all those candied
Yeah.
nuts or whatever, you
Yeah.
go to like a Christmas fair and they have the stands for those, the kiosks. This reminds me most of that scent than any of their things so far. It's very sugar sweet.
Yeah.
You know, I don't get a lot of depth in that sweetness.
Yeah, it is. But it's up front. Mm-hmm. Woo! It does not.
And even on the palate, it's very confection, sugar, like nutty,
Yes.
and all mixed in nuts, not just one. I don't get one particular like nut. With
See, I'm
this.
not-
It's
okay.
I get that sugar, but I get a lot of graininess too from some of the youthful
Yeah.
bourbons that are in there, whiskeys that
Yeah,
are in there,
and I think
then-
that's what's hitting me up front.
But then there's a lot of oak as well.
I feel like it's starting like you're saying
Yeah.
there, and then it's kind of falling into like I think we're getting the older one on the back end. Of
Yeah,
it.
it resolves kind of into
Yeah.
that oak.
It's
And I definitely get that spice like on the nuts, like you're talking about. I get that
Yeah.
on the palate.
yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
I mean, it's definitely it's interesting.
It is. It is.
See, I think this one might be one of the more interesting ones that we have.
I think so too. What was the other really complex one we did? 3, I
The
think.
one with the brown.
The road.
Yeah,
The road
yeah.
home.
The road home.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is not quite as complex to me, but it's complex in a different way. With the road home, we had a lot of different complexities with different parts of the palate. I think we have a lot of complexities in a very localized part of the palate. With that sweet, I don't get a lot of tannins. I don't get a lot of bitter. I get oak flavor, but I don't get like tannins from the oak on this one. It doesn't have a drying effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
I
think-
can't get
Very
past
good
the
point.
sweetness. I feel like
Yeah.
honestly, to me, it hits you so hard up front. All I'm feeling is like I'm getting like Lucky Charm marshmallows, and it just it does
love
fade
those.
into the oaky note, but like it just for me
Yeah.
that sugar is so dominant up front. Like it's
It
just,
is.
I can't.
I agree with Jeff.
Yeah.
I get some graininess on it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's kind of fast on the palate as well. Like it has some lingering effects, but
It does.
It's it's a little faster than the others.
I think the kid is hanging around though, not the old guy.
Yeah,
He had better things to do.
I think so too. It's like I'm out of here. I'm
Yeah,
out
it
of
dissipates fairly quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Lot faster than the other.
here. Yeah.
So, last plug we're going to have of the first video here is for your podcast.
Yeah.
You do a whiskey podcast. Would you like to talk about that for a brief moment?
Yeah,
And then
so
touch about it?
I co-host a whiskey podcast called Whiskey and Rock. It's myself and my co-host D-Rock. We do a whole host of things, such as we review different new releases. We go back through our collections and review some of those. We also interview. We have guys like the distillers from Found North, from Frontgate, from a whole host of other whiskey and bourbon companies. And episodes last about 15 minutes to 30 minutes on most of them, and try to make them good for a car ride for your commute.
Okay.
So.
Well, for those of you out there looking for podcasts, look this one up. Great dude here. Two of them do a good job. So
I'll listen to it and enjoy it as well. So, I mean,
It's a good one.
It is a really good
it is a good
podcast.
one. So
Not just saying
Chapter
that 'cause he's my
6.
friend,
yeah, well, he's a great guy. He's a great guy. For those of you, he's a great guy.
but D-Rock is as well. I've met him also. So
Little Book, Chapter 6, To the Finish, which this is the finish of our first video. This is the last one we're going to review on this particular first video.
This will be Tim's favorite.
There will be a second video that will release that we go on
man.
to Little Book 7 through the end, and then the 2 special releases. So I've already heard an "oh man" from Virginia, so...
Means you're not gonna like it.
Ah, come on.
Yeah, MJ's not going to like this one.
No.
Yep.
I had this one at the distillery.
That took
and
about 2
I
seconds. So
was like, why did I buy it? Why did I buy this?
disregard my opinion on this one. I am not a malt guy.
I'm not either. So,
And the
a
mash
malt girl.
bill on this one...
I'm usually not a malt person, but I actually do like this release.
So this is... Yeah. So this release I started this one already, so you kind of already know the first 2. It is a 4-year straight malt finished in cherry wood. It is a 4-year straight malt finished in applewood smoked barrels. It is a 4-year straight malt finished in hickory smoked barrels, and a 4-year straight malt finished in maplewood. Stays with maple, Colonel.
Yeah.
There's your maple plug for this video.
There
We get one every video. And this is an 8-year straight bourbon, which I admit I've had this one before, and I don't get that at all. It is
This is a very interesting
Yeah.
117.
117 on the
All right,
proof on this
117
one.
proof.
So
It's a very interesting combination. I'm really curious if you guys know in the audience what Jim Beam was thinking as a whole, as a company, how they came up with this combination. It's very different. Was there something going on that year where we wanted to look at malts, or they were just doing some other experimental things, or was it part of their signature collection? Now we have a full capital V pour.
there you go.
You know,
This
whoa.
came out in 2022, I think was the year this got released.
Yeah, this
I
is
think
the
so.
22
And-
release as well. Yes,
And I
yes.
think there was, if I remember, like around that time, there was a big push
for malts.
for malts.
Yeah.
A lot, like the American single malt was kind of becoming the big catchphrase and the big kind of focus for a lot of distilleries. Yellowstone put one out. You had
Yep.
several others that were putting out the American single malts, and so maybe they were trying to capitalize and just show people, hey, here's something that something really exciting that we could do with that
Yeah.
category. I'm not a big single malt fan, but I'll say with this, I think the finishes really help those of you that don't really enjoy single malts, because maybe they're smoke. I don't like the smokiness, the peaty,
Yeah.
but to me the finishes really take the edge off a lot of
Right.
that. Now you get the smoke flavor; it still comes through, but it seems to be a little more tamped down.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's one of the reasons why for all the finishes, and
Yeah.
maybe that bourbon, they snuck that in there as well to kind of
Yeah.
round that out a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm wondering too. Is that the year the Claremont Steep came out? Because I don't remember seeing it until around that time. They're malted.
I think it was
It may have
around
been.
yeah.
It was around that
So I
time.
it's
wonder if they
even-
were kind of trying to push that as well.
See, and I think
Yeah.
for me, like again, I'm not a malt guy, but you put so much of that smoked wood, and I'm not a big smoky guy either. I don't like scotches, for example, for those reasons. And
Yeah.
that I think
Yeah.
that's
Or
where it
Barstown
misses
Elm
for me.
Root.
Or Barstown Elm Root. That's
Yeah.
that was a whole other story. But
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 whatever.
this is better when it's not 10:30 in the morning. Your first sip of the
That's
day, like
true.
when it was
Yeah.
at the
That
distillery.
is
That's when
true.
I tried it before.
So
It's interesting because this actually bumps up to one of my favorites. But I am a
course it
Scotch
does.
drinker.
But I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, I'm a Scotch drinker.
I knew it would get my.
You like
There's
the
no
Ollie-
way we're
Ollie
going to be.
Scotch?
I love all
See,
Scotch.
I hate
No way.
Ollie.
Yeah,
I like
but
this- The Speyside Hollands,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I can't do the Islay.
Well, the
So-
fun thing about that is that, like, I know we're talking about this, but it kind of plays into this a little bit. So, like with Scotch, the malted barley getting smoked with peat,
Yeah.
it tastes different from different regions because peat is made up of the decomposing products,
Right.
you know, all of the plants of that region. But what's really cool is that when you use that to smoke your grains to dry them after they've been malted, it imparts that flavor. And that's what's fun about this is we have different woods that we've now used to dry those grains, and it imparts all these different flavors, and it just opens up that depth, because malted barley as a whole has a beautiful like honey toffee flavor profile, but when you start looking at the flavor profiles of the different woods, then you start opening up all of these different profiles on the palate as well from that grain. So it's really nice. It's a really nice exploration to go down.
Virginia likes it.
I do. I love this one.
Okay.
This might be. I think I might like one,
I know what she's
and
about to
then
say,
this
so
one.
this
might
is
be
This
job
is
on
probably
that.
the most
So
Yeah.
interesting that we've had
Yeah.
so far. Just
see, I think the brown rice one was, but
That was interesting.
so
True.
Yeah.
favorite.
I
of
would
the 1 through
say,
6.
I would say it's a tie between this and number 1. Actually,
Number 1's my clear favorite.
yeah.
number
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay, so
One for sure.
Jim Beam, make more like Little One. There we
Make
go.
more
So-
like-
Go back to the
6.
beginning.
so I told you the most interesting palette. And all, so anyway,
Yep.
so far, again through video 1
Yeah.
through 6, we
Yeah.
would clearly say number 1 is probably the dominant favorite with
Yeah.
a little bit of number 6 in there.
For me, yeah.
obviously. So.
Yeah.
Folks, thank you for joining us through this video. We will have a subsequent video that goes through 7 through whatever
Yeah.
9 or whatever it is there, and then the 2 special releases that we will be
Yeah.
reviewing as well. So we're going to go a little more in depth with those.
Cheers.
But join us on that video if you like this one. Obviously, like and subscribe or something. I'm supposed to say something like that. I think
All the
on these
things.
Hit the like button.
subscribe,
Yeah. Those-
follow
yeah.
us, all
I
the
don't
things.
watch a ton of videos, I admit. So, but my kids do, so I hear that a lot. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Drink
thank you for
more,
joining
but
us.
drink responsibly.
Look us up on whiskeyuniversity.com, and thank you for joining us for this video.